The 1990s were a once-in-a-lifetime moment for Japanese performance cars. Emissions rules were looser, safety regulations were lighter, electronics were just advanced enough to be useful, but not advanced enough to get in the way. And somewhere inside the engineering departments of Japan's automakers, a collective decision was made. Let's see how far we can push this. This was the golden era of turbocharging. Not just one turbo slapped onto an economy car, but wild experimentation, sequential setups, rally-derived drivetrains, tiny engines running absurd boost, and technological showcases so over-engineered they bordered on ridiculous. These aren't just the usual legends everyone talks about. These are the cars that made engineers pause, look at the blueprints, and ask, should we really do this? And then they did it anyway. These are the 5 most outrageous turbocharged cars of 90s JDM. Number 5, Suzuki Cappuccino, the K car that forgot its place. Japan's K car regulations were designed to create sensible transportation. The government capped engine displacement at 660 cubic centimeters, limited physical size, and rewarded compliance with tax breaks and cheaper insurance. The idea was simple: small, efficient cars for crowded cities. Most manufacturers followed the spirit of the rules. Suzuki did not. Instead of building a forgettable commuter, Suzuki looked at the K regulations and thought, what if we built a real sports car, but tiny? The result was the Suzuki Cappuccino. Under the hood sits a 657 cubic centimeters turbocharged inline 3, producing the K limited 64 horsepower, about 63 horsepower. That doesn't sound impressive until you realize the Cappuccino weighs just under 1,600 pounds. Even more outrageous, it sends power to the rear wheels through a 5-speed manual with an optional limited slip differential. This wasn't a front-wheel drive city car pretending to be sporty. It was a legitimate front-engine, rear-wheel drive roadster. The engine revs freely to around 8,500 RPM. And while the 0 to 60 time of roughly 9 seconds doesn't sound fast on paper, the experience is completely different. You're sitting inches off the ground with a short wheelbase and almost no insulation from the road. At 50 miles per hour, it feels like qualifying lap speed. Suzuki went even further. The Cappuccino features a 3-piece removable roof system that allows it to be configured as a coupe, a Targa top, or a full convertible. In a car this small, Suzuki still thought it needed 3 roof configurations. That alone tells you how little concern they had for practicality. Because it complied with K rules, Japanese buyers were rewarded for owning it. You could buy a turbocharged rear-wheel drive sports car and pay less in taxes and insurance than someone driving a basic sedan. That's not just outrageous engineering, that's outrageous timing. The Cappuccino was never officially sold in Western markets, but imports have surged in popularity. Tuners quickly discovered that the tiny 3-cylinder responds shockingly well to modifications. With upgraded turbos and supporting mods, 100 horsepower is common, and extreme builds have gone far beyond that, delivering performance that feels completely unhinged for a K car. Today, clean examples typically sell for $8,000 to $15,000, and prices continue to rise as people realize what Suzuki pulled off. They built a car that had absolutely no business being this fun, all while following rules that designed to create boring economy cars. Number 4, Nissan Pulsar, GTIR, the rally homologation special that went too hard. In the early 1990s, rally racing was brutally competitive. To compete in Group A, manufacturers were required to build road-going versions of their race cars. Most companies did the bare minimum. Nissan went completely overboard. The Nissan Pulsar GTIR was built as a homologation special, and it shows. Under the hood sits the legendary SR20DET, a 2.0-liter turbocharged inline 4, officially rated at 227 horsepower, though real output was widely believed to be higher. Power is sent through a 5-speed manual to a rally-focused all-wheel drive system inspired by Nissan's Atisa development but simpler in execution, using viscous coupling rather than advanced electronic torque vectoring. The car weighs just over 2,600 pounds. That combination was explosive. The GTIR could hit 60 miles per hour in around 5.4 seconds, which in 1990 was supercar adjacent performance. This tiny hatchback was quicker than many contemporary sports cars and embarrassed machines that cost twice as much. But Nissan didn't just swap engines and call it a day. The chassis was reinforced. The suspension was designed with rally stages in mind. The brakes were upgraded. The transmission included a viscous, limited-slip differential. Everything about the GTIR existed for one reason: winning. The styling reflects that mindset. A massive hood scoop feeds the intercooler. The fender flares cover a wider track. The rear wing isn't decorative, it actually works. Nissan wasn't trying to make it pretty, they were trying to make it unstoppable. Roughly 12,000 units were produced, most of them staying in Japan. Today, the GTIR has developed a cult following, especially among tuners. The SR20DET is famous for responding aggressively to modifications, and with upgraded turbos and fueling, power figures can climb rapidly. Some heavily modified examples have achieved shockingly quick drag times, well beyond what Nissan ever intended, though these are extreme builds rather than street-friendly setups. Clean examples now sell for $15,000 to $25,000, and buyers aren't just getting a fast hatchback, they're getting a piece of rally history that still feels wild by modern standards. Number 3. Mazda RX-7 Type RZ, sequential boost madness. Everyone knows the RX-7 is beautiful. Everyone knows it has a rotary engine, but what makes the Type RZ truly outrageous isn't the shape, it's the engineering hiding underneath. At its heart is the 13BREW, a 1.3-liter twin-rotor engine equipped with a sequential twin-turbo system. This wasn't a parallel setup. Mazda engineered two turbos that operate at different times, a small turbo for low-end response and a larger turbo that comes online at higher RPM. The result was about 276 horsepower, with remarkably little lag for the era. This system was incredibly complex. Vacuum-operated actuators, pressure sensors, and computer controls all worked together to manage the turbo transition. In the early 1990s, this level of sophistication in a production car was borderline insane. The Type RZ took things even further. Mazda stripped weight wherever possible. Sound deadening was reduced, the radio and rear wiper were removed, a front strut tower brace was added, along with an upgraded limited slip differential and lightweight 17-inch wheels. This was the RX-7 for drivers who understood exactly what they were buying. Performance was serious: 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 5 seconds, quarter-mile times in the low 13 seconds, and a top speed in the mid-150s when unrestricted. All of this from a car weighing around 2,800 pounds. The rotary engine's lack of reciprocating mass allows it to rev smoothly to 8,000 RPM, and it responds to boost unlike almost anything else. Properly built examples can produce well over 400 horsepower, though reliability becomes the trade-off. And that's the catch. Rotaries burn oil by design, apex seals are sensitive, maintenance is constant. Mazda knew all of this, and still built one of the most complicated turbo systems of the decade. That's not ignorance, that's commitment to performance over practicality. Today, finding a genuine Type RZ means importing from Japan, with prices ranging from $35,000 to $60,000 depending on condition. You're paying for one of the most ambitious turbocharged systems of the 1990s, wrapped in a body that still looks futuristic today. Number 2, Mitsubishi GTO Twin Turbo, the technological showcase. In 1990, Mitsubishi didn't want to build the lightest sports car, they wanted to build the most advanced one. The Mitsubishi GTO, known as the 3000 GT elsewhere, was a rolling technology demonstration. The twin-turbo variant featured a 3.0-liter V6, producing 280 horsepower, paired with all-wheel drive, four-wheel steering, electronically controlled suspension, and active aerodynamics. This car had features that wouldn't become common for decades. The all-wheel drive system managed traction through a combination of mechanical and electronic control. The four-wheel steering improved stability at speed and agility in corners. Active front and rear spoilers adjusted automatically to balance downforce and drag. The downside? Weight. The GTO tipped the scales at around 3,800 pounds, making it more of a high-speed grand tourer than a lightweight sports car. But even with all that mass, it could still hit 60 miles per hour in about 5 seconds and run the quarter mile in the mid-13s. The twin turbos were set up in parallel, one for each cylinder bank. delivering smooth, linear power that felt almost naturally aspirated. There was no dramatic turbo kick, just relentless acceleration from low RPM to redline. Inside, the GTO was packed with luxury. Leather seats, premium audio, climate control, everything Mitsubishi could throw at it. You could cruise at high speed in comfort, then flip the suspension to sport mode and attack corners with surprising confidence. Maintaining one today is not cheap. The same technology that made it revolutionary also makes it complex and expensive to repair. But clean examples still trade for $15,000 to $30,000 because people remember what Mitsubishi achieved here. Number 1, Toyota Supra Twin Turbo, the legend that earned it. You knew this was coming. The A80 Toyota Supra Twin Turbo isn't outrageous because of gimmicks or experimental tech. It's outrageous because Toyota accidentally built one of the most over-engineered turbocharged engines in history. The 2JZ GTE is a 3.0-liter inline-six with sequential twin turbos, officially rated at 280 horsepower. Real-world output was widely believed to be higher, landing in the low 300 horsepower range. What truly mattered wasn't the power, it was the construction. Toyota used a cast iron block, forged internals, conservative tuning, and engineering margins that bordered on absurd. The engine was designed to last hundreds of thousands of miles under normal use. As it turned out, it could also handle massive power increases when tuned carefully. The sequential turbo system provided boost early and kept pulling all the way to redline. 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 4.6 seconds, quarter mile in roughly 13.1 seconds, and a top speed electronically limited to 155 miles per hour, though unrestricted cars could go far beyond that. And then the tuners got involved. Stock turbos could support around 500 horsepower, built setups pushed far higher. The Supra became the platform for drag racing, standing mile events, and street builds that embarrassed cars costing 10 times as much. Today, clean manual Supras sell for $100,000 or more, with pristine examples crossing $200,000. That's outrageous appreciation for a car that once sat on dealership lots. But people aren't just buying a car, they're buying the legend. These 5 cars represent a moment when Japanese manufacturers pushed turbocharging to its limits, sometimes past the point of reason. And that's exactly why we still talk about them today. So if you had to choose one to build, which would it be? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, keep it at the red line.